Hey guys, this is Ben the Bumble Bee with Beehive Flight. One more video. Just want to talk about different styles of instructors. So none of these instructors I want to say were red flags, but just different styles that I've seen of instructing and different things. And so when you're selecting an instructor, just to kind of know what would work best with you. Because if you've got the wrong kind of style with an instructor, like the way they teach, the way you learn don't really mesh, then you might want to switch and you just say no hard feelings. It's not a thing against you. We're just not going to work out. I've had this where I had one instructor who's really good. A lot of people loved him. I went flying with him and I was like, ooh, not going to quite work for me. I just needed a different style. Nothing against them. They're good instructors. Okay, this is not like a red flag. It's just, oh, I need something a little different for myself. Okay, so I got 5 styles. One style is called, I like to call it the drill sergeant. So I came up with these names of my own, right? So you probably won't hear this anywhere else. It's just nicknames I came up with, but kind of explain what they are. Just to give them names. So one was the drill sergeant. This is someone that's very quick to correct. So if you're not doing something right, they tell you immediately. Boom. Okay, you gotta do better. You gotta do better. They're really good. They're not gonna let you make a lot of mistakes. They're gonna make sure that you know if you made a mistake and they correct it. I had one. He focused really on instructing when you get to later when you get working with your instructor, something called primacy, right? To make sure that you learned it right the first time. And so when he would demonstrate something, and then if you did it, and then he would demonstrate a maneuver, and then when you did it, if you did it wrong, he immediately corrected, hey, we got to get primacy, we got to make sure you're doing this right. It was very much a focus on, we're doing this right the first time, let's get you done. It didn't work for me. This was actually an instructor that, well, he's a great instructor, lots of happy students, wasn't really good for me. Because I take criticism very personally. It's just a personal flaw of mine. So I'm just, this is me. Like, it's not him, it's me. This doesn't work for me. And so sometimes things he would say would be very quick to correct, and I would take them very harshly of like, oh, I'm a bad pilot. Oh, I'm not very good at this. I'm never going to figure this out. Instead of just like, hey, we're learning. It's fine. Chill. Not a big deal. So that would just be one thing. I just like to call him the drill sergeant. It's, hey, let's go. Watch your airspeed, watch your altitude, let's go. Very, very good. You will learn to fly, and you will fly very, very flight tolerances. You'll be a really good pilot if you learn from them, if that works for you. Okay, if you're someone who can take criticisms, you want to do it right the first time, and that's how you learn, great instructor. This is not bad enough again. Number 2 is the complete opposite, the nurturer. There's someone that's always very positive. Hey, you did a great job. Very nurturing, making sure, hey, you're a good pilot. We're doing good. Kind of, I almost want to say babying you, right? Very nurturing, very kind. They're really good if you're really self-deprecating. If you're lacking confidence in yourself. They'll let you kind of be like, hey, yeah, you're a little off, but they have a hard time criticizing you. They have a hard time. One of the downsides of the nurturer is that they criticize you, or it's having criticism, giving positive or negative feedback. They're very good at the positive, right? Oh, you're doing great. You're learning. Look how much better you're doing. But then it might be like, hey, you know what? And if you're someone who, how do I find the right word? I want to say lazy, but I don't know if that's where. But someone who very much wants to take the easy way out, this is not a good instructor for you, because they'll be a little bit slower to correct things, and so you'll end up flying more hours because they're kind of slow to correct. But if you're someone who's very harsh on yourself, and you're like, hey, and they're like, yeah, you're a little off your head, and you're like, hey, I will do it better this time. Boom. And that's, and so that could be really good. If you're really, you really are very striving to make sure you do this right, not just pass the check right, but I'm gonna be a good pilot. The nurturer, good instructor, very caring, does care about your success, but cares about you also as a person. Sometimes a little too much. Now, I'm not an instructor. If that works for you, great. one else called is the very cautious instructor. This one does not want to put you in any danger at all. Very good, very good. The downside, and so they're ones that they almost seem nervous about everything, right? They're constantly checking they'll get on their tablet. They'll be like, okay, are we getting close to airspeed? Okay, what's that plane doing over there? What's this? And it's not just that they're paying attention but they're like almost even like a nervous Nelly, which is great. You'll have a wonderful, safe flight with them. They will always keep you safe. They will make sure that you're never in any danger. They don't fly in anything. It's sunny, very little wind when you fly. Like they'll be like, hey, the weather's even questionable. We're not flying, which is great, which is wonderful. It's a very good way to like not push yourselves into dangerous situations. The downside is that you don't get experience in what we'll call inclement weather, right? Where it's raining, maybe. The wind, you may have a crosswind on your landing. It's maybe a little windy, maybe just a little bumpy. I'm not talking nothing extreme, right? We're not talking about thunderstorms and a hailstorm. That's not what I'm talking about. But I had an instructor that was like, yeah, no, let's, especially when you're working at private pilot's license, it's like, hey, you know what? It's not a good flying weather day. And I'm looking at it going, yeah, looks like a good weather flying. And even today, like looking at it like as a higher time pilot going, no, it was fine. It was fine weather. He just doesn't want you, he or she, doesn't want to put you in any kind of danger. Great. You'll always have a safe flight with them. Good instructor, right? And they'll teach you, right, all the things to check to make sure that you have a safe flight. So that's a really good thing. But the downside is that they're overcautious. You won't get experience. Now, if you're someone who's just like, I mean, my pilot's license, if it's bad weather, I won't fly. Great, right? They're going to show you all the ways to make sure that you never put yourself in any danger. But if you're going for like a career pilot and you're like, sometimes you got to fly. It's windy. You need to know how to do a crosswind landing. Then that's the downside. Also, that nervous energy. I had one that was a lot of nervous energy. It fed onto me. So then I'm like, is this bad weather? If you don't have the self-confidence, like for me, you're new, especially if you're a newer pilot or just a new student, you're like, is this bad weather? What am I missing? So I'm looking at the weather going, I don't see it. What is he talking about? And it ended up that what he was talking about actually had nothing to do with our flight. He just forgot that I didn't need to work on that what we were going to work on had nothing to do with that. Ended up, but like, I'm over here questioning myself, like, what am I missing? So if you find that you have a really cautious instructor, kind of, I don't want to say overly cautious, then maybe you might want to switch. Nothing against them, right? They'll always make sure to keep you safe. Good instructor. Number 4, I call the Whiz. This person is the craziest instructor to have. I love these kind of instructors. They know the answer, and they want you to know that they know the answer. I had one. I call him the Whiz. Yeah, I almost took it as a challenge. I was going to try to stump him. I was going to ask him questions to see if he could know that. And he was like, every time. He's like, oh yeah, boom. And not only did he know what the answer was, he knew where to find it in the book. So I was like, hey, what about doing this? He's like, oh, well, let's go up to this reg. Hey, let's go up to this page in the pilot handbook, in the PHAC, the Pilot Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. For those of you who know, that's just a book put out by the FAA, teach you just knowledge about about flying. Just knowledge you need to know. He's like, here's the chapter, here's the page. Like, he was the Whiz. Really cool, really good guy, really good instructor, right? Obviously very well prepared. The downside that I had with him, though, is when it came for me to take my check ride, he wanted to make sure that not only that I actually knew it, that over-prepared. I was over-prepared for this check ride. Not in this, like, not that there was anything wrong, but the school I was at, every time you would do ground with your instructor, he charged for that. And so, like, we did multiple grounds. He was like, you need to make sure that you know this. And he would try to stump me, like, which was good. I went very, very confident in my check ride. I went in very well prepared. I knew the answers. Also kind of caused some frustration for me because I was like, every time I Like, I knew this. We already went over this, and I studied it. But he wanted to make sure, right? But he knew the answer. He wanted to make sure that you knew the answer. We went over VFR sectionals over and over and over again. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? And like, I still remember it all. You know, even some things I'm like, when is this coming up? Like, how often does this come up? It seems like something I could look up, like, if I want to, you know. But, good instructor. Not going to say it. Really good. Really well prepared. Very good instructor. That was just the downside. Then number 5 is my personal favorite. This last one. This is actually the instructor that I seek out for me. For me, this is the right instructor. I like to call him the California Cool. Right? Kind of the surfer kind of attitude. Isn't overly concerned about your mistakes. Like, he's going to make sure that you do the maneuver correctly eventually. But if you're not doing it perfectly right at the time, it's okay. Stays relaxed if things aren't perfect. You know, maybe gives you a gentle reminder. Hey, watch your airspeed. You know, you're coming for landing. Hey, man, you just get a little slow. You know, really chill, really relaxed. This works really for me because especially when I was learning, I'd get frustrated with myself if I was doing things correctly. I myself would get frustrated, and then I would be critical of myself. And the more frustrated I get, the more stressed I get about myself, and the worse my flying becomes. So if I had someone like the drill sergeant, I went from drill sergeant to what I call California Cool, and I was like, oh, wow, this is so much better, right? This works for me really well. And so this is the kind of instructor that I would seek out when I was learning. I call them because they're always relaxed. It's not a big deal. You're learning. We're going to get it eventually, right? And it's never a safety thing. It's not like, oh, we almost ended up in a spin because you weren't, you know. But if safety's not concerned, then they'll just stay relaxed and be like, hey, man, you know, it's really not as big of a deal as maybe it would seem, right? And they keep that calm confidence, and so never raise their voice at you. Just a really good instructor in my view. This was for me. This is what I need. So those are just 5 different types of instructors. Just to be concerned of. Kind of think before maybe you go to school, before you begin your flight training, or look if you're in the middle of your flight training, look at your instructor now. Like, is this style working for me? Because if it's not nothing against this instructor. I don't want to. This is not. I would do my mouth any of these instructors. I just saying that you are an individual person, and this is one-on-one attention, and so you might as well, if you're paying for them, get the kind of instructor that you want. I'm more of the California Cool and nurturer. I want to really build up your confidence because flying should be fun, right? So if you feel like those are the kind of things that you need, come check me out, beehiveflight.com. I'm Ben the Bumble Bee. I hope we can fly together in the Ogden, Utah area. If you're up in the area, I'd love to fly with you. Come check me out. Maybe you always have tailwinds. And have a good day, my friends. Bye.